Over 2,800 people have made it into the Two Comma Club by making at least $1 million in their business. And you get the opportunity to understand exactly how it is that they have done it on an individual by individual basis through this podcast. If you're interested in learning more about the tidbits and advice that they have, then you should consider subscribing to the Two Comma Club newsletter, where you'll get daily updates and advice on the podcast and the things that we are learning from the individuals who have made at least $1 million. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com or click the link in the description down below and subscribe.
If you're looking for the quick cash, go get a job. They'll pay you. If you're looking to make big money, add value, have time delay, right? Figure out how to live without don't go buy crazy things. Like, just figure out how to live minimally so you can just gain more skills, become better, add more value, etc. And then the delayed gratification is where the exponential growth happens, right? That's that eighth wonder of the world, that compounding interest. The struggles that my mom faced financially was one of the big motivators. And plus, I just like fast cars and big yachts and flying private and all that really cool stuff that, like, it's like we're on this earth. Why not get everything you can? Why not experience everything you can? Like, why not? Like, it's not like you're taking away from somebody else because you have, like, and that's what people need to understand. It's like, go out and be the best version of yourself. We talk about impact. That is how you're going to impact by example, impact by becoming the best version, impact by showing people what's possible and getting other people to be inspired to step up and to become more.
Welcome back to the Two Comma Club podcast. Today we're here with Alexander Rodriguez. Alex, I see from your Instagram that you have a digital agency. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on with that.
Yeah, for sure. That's a little outdated, I guess, because I'm actually not running the agency anymore. But I guess I'll just share my story with you guys if that's all right.
Perfect.
So I started in entrepreneurship when I was 18. I turned 30 5 days ago now. So kind of crazy to think about, 12 years in the game. And it's so funny, at 18, my vision of myself at 30 was like Rolls Royces, jets, big ball and watches, and just like this insane lifestyle. And by no means am I downplaying my success, but I'm definitely not financially there. I think from a fulfillment standpoint, I'm there. From like a challenge standpoint, I'm there. But yeah, started at 18 in a network marketing company, and we were selling energy drinks. The company was called Vima, and I just learned so much. I learned, started reading books, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Started diving into guys like Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, started going to seminars and just started learning. For me at that young age, I just knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I wanted financial freedom because it's like if you grow up a certain way and you finally have like the freedom to like choose yourself. Some people tell the story of like, oh, I grew up this way, so I'm gonna be like this. And I said I grew up this way, so I'm gonna be like this. So the stories we tell ourselves at that age are so crucial in terms of where we go. And I was just really good at making friends. Honestly, I think that's one of my biggest skills. In college, I just started making friends with the right people, and I started getting into rooms that I probably shouldn't have be in. And I always wanted to put myself in a situation where good things could happen. And I was able to recognize good people at that time. So that was really what did it for me. I ended up making my first six figures in college. I bought a BMW, and that was, so much fun. I mean, no regrets from any of that experience, like traveling, going to Vegas, going to Australia, speaking on stages in front of like 1,200 people. At 18 years old, I was living the life. And it shaped everything. It shaped those friends that I met at 18 in that company. They're my best friends today, to this day. You know what I mean? Like half of them were in Mexico with me 5 days ago for my 30th birthday. So it just shaped everything. And, that company, unfortunately, kind of, didn't work out as no entrepreneur, right? We think we're going to start a company and it's going to be our first and only company. But what you start to realize is like, hey, there's peaks and valleys in the journey. So I went through network marketing, was finishing college. I tried to drop out of college. I told my mom, I was like, I really don't need this thing. I don't think it's going to benefit me in any way. But she wanted me to finish. So I did. I started another network marketing company. I did well there, but I wasn't, passionate about it. And really, I was just learning direct sales. I was learning how to convince people to buy products. And that's what I got really, really good at a young age. Like from 18 to like 23, like that's what I studied was sales. And that has served me to this day. Like I can go and I can sell anything, anybody. It doesn't matter what it is. And I, in my head, I think I am the best at what I do. I think I am the best at showing up. I think I am the best at convincing in a way that is not like we're in the 1970s, right? Where we were pushy and you're selling on features, but genuinely asking good questions to people. And, again, how to win friends and influencing people, letting them know that I'm on their side. Like, hey, if this product is right for you, we're going to figure this out together and we're going to make a decision together if this makes sense for you to buy, right? And I think that power of like how to befriend somebody on the sales side has served me to this day. So got really, really, really good at that. And then I want to say after college, I moved back home with my mom, didn't know what I was going to do, started working at an insurance company. Did really well there. My brother had recruited me. I became the number one agent, became the number one manager. But unfortunately, for me, I think guys with I wouldn't call it an ego. It could be an ego. I don't know what it was, but it was just like I just saw there was too much politics involved in that organization. And me and the owner started kind of bumping heads. I just saw things that I didn't like. They had too much control over my financial future. They had too much say and unfortunately I didn't believe in them anymore. So that was a big lesson. Like I lost faith and trust in the organization's leadership based on the decisions that they were making. But again, an amazing experience. This is where I really started going down more of my sales route, moving out of my mom's house with like $500 in my bank account, moving into my brother's place. And he's like, look, dude, I'm going to give you a spot, but you got to figure this out and you got to start making money. And not only did I start making money, I started making money fast, right? The first week I actually went out in blank and I fell into a depression. And I was like, I thought I knew everything about sales. Well, it turns out this was a different type of sale. Then the next week things started clicking. It was like one sale after the next, after the next. So 6 months of that, number one agent, number one manager. I left the company again. Because again, I couldn't see my future there. Started working for Tesla, knocking doors, selling solar sales, again, crushing it. And that's when I stumbled across how to build funnels. So I actually started generating my own leads because I was like, that's where the value is, right? Like I can go knock doors all day and I was good at it. But what if I could just generate, like I call myself a lazy entrepreneur. Like, how do I do the least to get the most? And I don't mean that it's funny because I'm not lazy at all. But it's like, it's all about leverage, right? Like, how can I talk to 20 people in a day as opposed to talking to two? And how can I do it from the comfort of my own home? Like, what's wrong with wanting to be comfortable, right? I think I learned this at a boot camp when I was really young. The instructor, it was a military boot camp my stepfather had sent me to. And he yelled at us. He says, hey, do you guys want to do things the easy way or the hard way? And being so young and not knowing, me and my buddy raised our hands. We're like the hard way, right? Because we thought in our head, like maybe that would like make us better or something. Maybe that would put, if we do things the hard way, like that's going to add value to who we are as men. And I just don't think that's true. I think what we need is the result. And I said the hard way, and I learned the lesson that day because I had to run for 3 hours and do wall sits and push-ups and jumping jacks while everybody went inside and took notes in the AC. And so never again do I want to make money the hard way. Why would you want to make money the hard way? And so that was my realization in solar sales was like, I could just learn how to generate these leads and then use my sales skills to crush it. So once again, found myself in a place where, Tesla was buying Solar City. Elon was putting a lot more stipulations over how they want to go out and distribute solar. I think solar is a great industry, by the way. If you're in solar, like crush it because you can make a bunch of money. But it just wasn't for me. I wanted to be, at that time, I wanted to be the big boss. I wanted to be the guy who, ran the show. And I think that was like, again, young ego. And so once again, packed up my stuff, moved to my mom's house. I said, I'm going to start this agency thing. One of my buddies, Scott Thiemann, was getting started in the agency game. And I said, hey, this looks good. Like we could just go around and charge businesses to run these funnels. They have no idea how to do it. So let's just go and do that. And yeah, the next, what was that? That was 2018. From 2018 to 2021. That's what I did. I had built a team. We were at the highest rank. We were doing about $140,000 a month in sales. I moved out of my mom's house. I bought my truck. I bought my condo. I bought my Rolex. I was making more money than I'd ever made. And I was working with some of my best friends, and it was an amazing, amazing experience. I was traveling. I was living like I never, young bachelor in Delray Beach, Florida, 24 years old. Nothing could stop me. Now it's crazy. I can't believe this has been 6 years ago. And then in 2021, I was pretty badly betrayed by a good friend of mine for about 10 years. Him and his girlfriend, who I brought into my company like family, they basically, I found a video of them. I was in Dallas, Texas, and I have, faith in God, and God told me, pull out your phone, pull up your camera. And they were in my office. They were in my office, and they were basically conspiring to take my company away from me. Just because they didn't want to see me win, just because I think that there was a lot of malicious intent there. And you can clearly see it in the video and what they're saying. So it's funny. They still have no idea that I had that video. They have no idea that I saw that. And it broke my heart. It's like, now, by no means am I saying I did everything right at this time. By no means. I mean, this is the first time I'm a CEO. This is the first time I built $1 million organization. You know what I mean? So by no means, but when you look at how things happen, things that could have been done a lot differently, and they weren't. And it was probably one of the hardest things I'd ever gone through in my life. I mean, I'm talking about like I was stayed up for 3 days straight, just knowing everything that I built is about to be ripped from under me. And a lot of that is because I didn't have the systems. Like I had so much trust and faith in my friend, because I was paying him so well. I had an offer on the table for him to make over $200,000 a year base salary plus commissions plus 20% equity of the company. I mean, I had so much faith in this guy because that's who I am. I'm a trustworthy guy. Like I love people. I want to see the best in people. And so I give so much. I give to my family. I give to, when I have money, it's like everybody's getting a little something. My brother on my birthday last year, he got a brand new Rolex. We were at UFC. After UFC, bought him a, and that's who I am. And some guys do that. Some guys at the next level. I wouldn't say I'm next level entrepreneur yet. I just do it because I really love people. I really love to give gifts. Gifts like when my team was with me, I took them to Aspen. We went snowboarding, skiing. I mean, we went everywhere, right? And I gave them everything. And that's just the kind of guy I am. So, anyways, the downfall of the company was 2021, and that was huge. I'm so grateful, right? Like it's like I know that for me, like God is bringing me to, and it's already happening, to my next phase of business. And so after 2021, I got into real estate. I got into buying short-term rentals. I own an amazing house in Palm Beach Gardens. We're probably the #1 rental in the entire county or city of Palm Beach Gardens. I mean, I'm always booked up, and that investment alone was has just produced amazing returns for me. So getting into real estate was awesome. And then just a lot of failures since then, to be honest. Trying different things, trying different businesses, trying to build a new agency, getting into different, lead generation things, back into insurance, And just things that didn't work out for whatever reason. Now, I don't say that to say that they couldn't have worked out, but for some reason, something was telling me, hey, this isn't the one. And I probably had 5 or 6 swings since then. But my thing is you just have to get up and you have to keep swinging. Like you have to keep swinging. You have to keep your mind sturdy, and you just have to keep going, because you could be at the pit of hell. As long as you're swinging, one swing, one connection to the ball, that can take you back to the top further than you ever thought you could go. So as long as you don't stop swinging, you keep good people by your side, that's all that really matters. And yeah, so 2021 failures, probably 5 or 6 things that just didn't work out, things that I tried, I'm testing, right? And then finally I found an organization that asked me for some help with some funnels. It was through a buddy of mine. And one thing led to another, and they basically gave me an offer as an equity partner and as the CMO. And that's really where my passion is lying today, as well as some software things in the short-term rental space. That's we're kind of looking at with the team right now. But all in all, it's just been back at bats, swinging, and finally some are starting to hit. We're starting to get on base with some of these opportunities again.
That's awesome, man. You've had quite the up and down kind of whirlwind tour there with everything going on. But I love it. I love your enthusiasm. I definitely love your faith background. Like you said, just keep going. You don't know what's going to land, and I'm in real estate too, so I get that. We get properties all the time. Like, this is a turd, it's a loser. It ends up being great. So you just don't know. But I love that. I love it. Keep swinging.
Yeah.
What's some of your goals now you got for this year? Obviously, it's some of the things you talked about. What's some of your goals, or what direction you heading in now with things and things that have happened to you? Obviously, change your thought process and some of the things you're doing. But what's some of your goals you have coming up and things you want to do different now?
Well, I think the thing that I want to do different is I no longer have to be the boss to feel like I'm of value. Because the fact of the matter is, when you're in a real organization and you bring real value, you don't have to talk about it. Like, people just know. So like in the organization that I'm in now, I didn't have to ask. They asked me, right? When I show up to a call, like, people ask, they're asking questions, they're coming to me and they're lifting me up. So I think one of the biggest differences is like, hey, I actually don't want to be, how much pressure you have as the financial investor, the CEO, all these things. Like, I don't care about that stuff anymore. Like, none of that stuff makes me happy. And in fact, it just adds a lot of stress. So knowing yourself. And I think that's one of the things that I've really come to realize. Like, I'd rather work in a team as an executive, as an owner, but I don't want all the pressure on myself, right? So that's one of the biggest things. Is like, who you're working with is super important. Finding people that can balance your skill set, finding people that are good at what you're not good at, and trying to mix the pieces together. So I think that is absolutely huge. Yeah, I think just not having to put all that pressure on yourself, and able to travel without having to worry, is my business going to catch on fire? Because I have 4 other guys that are in the business and want to see it win. So finding a really good team that you can work with is I think key to that.
That's awesome. So these gentlemen that you're partnered with now, are they people that you previously worked with in other businesses, or are they good friends of yours that you've known for time, or how did you guys get connected?
Yeah, so I think that's where the networking effect comes in. I have an amazing network of entrepreneurs and just friends, and people that respect me and that have known me for a while. And I just had a good friend reach out for it's actually I invested in Peter Kell's course. I don't know if you guys know Peter Kell. He's the VSL masterclass guy, sharp. I mean, he scales companies to 40 million in a year. E-com guy. He's building an AI product right now. I absolutely love this guy just for his mindset. I'm not even in like the same niche. I just bought in because I wanted to learn about his mind. But basically, yeah, through my network, somebody had reached out to a buddy of mine. My buddy said, hey, you got to talk to Alex. He's studying these VSL things. And that's when my buddy Ben reached out to me. And I said, like, right on the call, I just gave him an insane amount of value. And he said, dude, you got to meet the owners. And then I met the owners and they were like, dude, we want you on the team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what are you doing now? So building team, you got some software stuff. What's kind of your main focus right now between the marketing business, the real estate thing? What are you really focused on right now?
Yeah, so my main focus is with a company called Virtual Health 360. We help physical therapists go virtual. My buddy Ben was kind of the pioneer of this over 5, 6 years ago and going virtual, like before COVID, where he left his clinic and I had worked as my agency building funnels. I was working with private practices. So it was a space that I really knew. And basically, it's an amazing business model. We have some big time investors in the company, some guys that are on that upper echelon of business people. And we basically educate on the front end. I have all the funnels, the leads. I'm running big webinars right now to educate patients on the power of virtual, because a lot of patients don't realize that you can actually have just as amazing of a success virtually working with a therapist as you can in a clinic. You don't have to go through insurance. You can, you can literally have concierge medicine right on your phone. So all the studies that have been done, it's like it's just as effective, if not more effective, because of the convenience of it. So I educate those patients in the middle, and I help distribute leads in the middle. And then on the back end, we have an amazing app to support physical therapists growing their business virtually with a legal team, tech, billing, all that stuff. And so, there's really three prongs to our business. But what's really cool is because I partnered with guys that are much smarter than me and much further along than me, they have an exit strategy, right? So when we look at multiples, if all goes well, I'll never have to work a day in my life again. And even if things don't go as well, I will be very well off financially to where I don't have to worry so much about the things and that I want. So that's one of the benefits of partnering with guys that are much smarter than you, is they knew how to evaluate a tech company, and we formulated a tech company to support an industry that needed a change. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if you guys know any physical therapists, but their lives are miserable. They're miserable. But when you talk to my buddy Ben, he's traveling to Hawaii, he's going to Mexico, he's doing this. And guess what? All of his patients, they absolutely love working with him. So we just found a better way, and we're helping people do that.
That's amazing. Yeah, we actually one of our other guests that we had on here was a physical therapist, Aaron LeBauer, and he helps physical therapists scale their cash practices to 6 figures, 7 figures, somewhere
Nice.
around there, depending on where they're at with their businesses and everything. So we
Nice.
got to hear a lot about how much help is needed in that niche.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
amazing
And
stuff.
obviously there's guys like us, like Aaron, like us, that are coming in and changing it. And it's crazy. Like, it's not even about scaling a cash practice for us. It's like we're literally helping them have so much freedom to live this internet lifestyle that they never thought was possible. Because I'll tell you, if you gave me the opportunity to scale a cash practice or to go virtual, I'd go virtual all day long. The amount of freedom you have by being able to run your business from your phone. And then what we also do is we give PTs the opportunity to become a master PT, where you have like 10 PTs under you that you're teaching how to sell, how to set, how to do your social media. So then you have like 250 patients in your network. I mean, you're making good money. You're making money that it's not possible before. I mean, you're making 20 grand a month as a physical therapist. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That's good money. You know what I mean? And you're doing it all virtually. So it's just about empowering them, and we're loving it. We're changing the game, and my partners are just amazing people. They're all just amazing people.
That's awesome. Talk about some things you've had, some challenges, mistakes you've made, kind of grew from. You kind of talked a little bit about different things you've learned, but what are some of the things, like really like some mistakes you've made and you kind of learned from and you're able to kind of recapture now and do things different?
Wow. Oh my gosh. I think you got to trust people, but trusting too much can really leave you empty-handed, and it can really leave you hurt. You got to get paperwork done. I don't care if it's your best friend or your mom, like, you got to have a contract signed. I don't care who it is. Get the damn contract signed. get a contract, get an operating agreement, get it signed, right? Because it's not when things are going good, it's when times are tough. You just go back to the agreement and say, well, how do we mitigate this? Right. So that would be, you know, had I done that, had I had paperwork, none of that stuff would have happened. I mean, I probably still would have left the business because I just was not enjoying the agency space at all. But none of the heartbreak and the issues would have arisen as harsh as they did. So that would be the first thing, is get operating agreements in place. Doesn't matter who it is. Your mindset is everything, you know. You have to focus, you have to work on yourself more than you work on your skills, your job. You have to work on your mind, right? Because at the end of the day, your mind is like a frequency, and whatever you're thinking about, you're going to attract. And look, I do it like this is, I preach to myself. Like when I say this stuff, I'm saying it to myself, right? Because you know, I'm a passionate guy, and instead of having high highs and high lows, I try to be as even keel as possible, right? But a lot, you know, it's tough, it's hard. So you have to remember to work on your mind and to manifest, write your goals down. Remember what you're doing this for, because if you're just thinking about the problems, you're going to forget about the reward. And the reward is what's going to fire you up. And if you're fired up, you're going to make a phone call. And that one phone call can lead you to millions of dollars. So literally, it's the smallest things. It's all about our frequency, right? It's all about our frequency. It's how we're going about it. Take care of yourself. You know, I wouldn't say that this is a mistake that I made, but something that I've practiced is like just taking care of my body. I do jujitsu. I lift weights every day. I keep, you know, I keep my sword sharp. And that's really helped me in terms of just staying in the game, because it's not like it's longevity, right? I mean, you look at the statistics, like most millionaires are becoming millionaires in their 50s. Like we live in a society today where we see on Instagram that these kids are making millions of dollars and all this, you know, stuff. And by all means, it's possible. And I don't mean to rag on them, but I don't know if you guys know the page Baller Busters. There's a pay, like a lot of people, it's not real. Like social media isn't real. So be careful what you believe. And remember, like happiness at the end of the day is in the it's your choice. Like it's your choice to be happy. It's your decision, right?
Yeah.
But if we're always comparing ourselves, and I think that was a lesson I learned, is like, don't compare. We're always comparing ourselves to the next guy. I mean, I can't compare myself to my friends. I mean, I've got friends that they're business partners with Oprah Winfrey. They run some of the biggest e-com businesses on the planet. I mean, they do 25 million plus a year. You know, my mentor, you know, Peter, like he could start a business tomorrow that does. I can't compare myself to these people because I'm not in their position. So giving yourself some grace, you know, and not comparing yourself is super important.
Definitely. Definitely. I couldn't agree more with that. Grace is such an important thing that we seem to be lacking a lot in our society today, and people don't talk about it as much as they should be. It's like, you know, if you have ambitions and goals that are more than what you believe you can attain right now, then you have to give yourself the grace to become the person you need to be in order to get to those goals. So definitely couldn't agree more. With that said, I'm interested to know more about the specifics around kind of the skills you developed through running the agency and how that's kind of translated to the education that you're providing all the PTs nowadays.
Yeah, definitely 100%. So, you know, I think that the main skill is sales. I was selling agency before I knew how to build a funnel. Okay. I got my first check before I knew how to build a funnel. So the fact is you don't need to know everything to move forward. And I think so many people get confused about that. Now I learned really quick how to build a funnel. I learned really quick how to generate leads, but for me, it was like, how can I take action first and go and get the money, and then I'll figure it all out. And I did, right? And it all worked out. But the first one was sales, and then I learned like really just how to funnel hack. Like, how do I take someone's funnel and how do I click what buttons and how do I type the same headline, the same sub headline, or just model it, right? Now the first funnel I built, I had permission to literally copy it word for word and it worked. And it was like, that was like, boom, that was like a big click for me. So I think modeling is huge, like not trying to go out there and build something brand new, not trying to go out there and build something, just try to model success, become an affiliate, right? Whatever it might be. And so sales, funnels, how to build those funnels, how to write some copy, not being a super pro at it. And let's see how to work tech, how to like build, go high level, right? Like simple stuff like that. How to use, now it's like how to use Chat GPT. Like yesterday I built 3 advertorials with Chat GPT or Claude. Actually, I used Claude. And it was all just like, I found a guy, Stefan Georgi, insane copywriter. He has a free video on Facebook. He's like, here's how I use Claude to make advertorials. These advertorials would blow my copy out of the water, right? So it's like, I just model success, or I just find the people that are better than me at it and I have them help me. And I think that's been a really, really huge skill. And then like productizing your service and making it unique and trying to find a route to have some leverage, whether you're trying to get to 10K, 100K, or 1 million a month, whatever it might be. Like, you have to have a good product, right? And you have to have leadership skills. I don't care if you're an executive on the team or if you're looking to grow within the team, like you have to have some type of leadership skills. And you have to execute on that every single day. So it's like the technical stuff, like the sales, the soft skills and things of that sort. That's all comes secondary to like how you think about things, right? So yeah, I think that's it. It's just like sales and then modeling success. Like, go to YouTube. How do I build a funnel? What kind of funnel do you? A lead gen funnel, an e-commerce funnel, right? Do you want to build a VSL? How do you go and build, write copy for that VSL? Like, what do you want to sell, right? And perfect that product and then work on the marketing. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. Is like, what are you selling and what's the vehicle? What's the product? What's the vehicle?
Like that. I like that. One of the things you hit on a little bit, I like to talk about a lot, is your unique ability, your core strengths. You kind of hit a couple of those things, but how do you work, or what's kind of your superpowers? And then what do you do for people to kind of to supplement what you're not good at? How are you putting that together? How do you do that?
Yeah, my superpower is definitely just my ability to network and get in the right rooms. Yeah, like, and people, I don't know how, but just I'm able to get there, and that's, I don't know how, because it's my superpower. So I'm grateful for that. When I'm not good at something, a lot of the times I'll just pay people or find people and incentivize them to do something. Hey, here's a small piece of equity. Hey, how can we come together and build this thing? You're a copywriter, you're a designer, right? You're you're a product guy, you have all the inventory. So that's my superpower, is my network. And then when I'm not good at something, I find the best person to just do it for me. And that's really what I was able to do in my agency. And it's really what I'm able to do now, is like, look, I found a guy who's the brand is really good. I found somebody, they have an investor. What our COO sold 22 clinics last year, right? Our chief sales officer manages like 400 sales reps right now. So it's like just finding the best people and just putting yourself in the mix.
I like that. I like that. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have to somebody who's trying to get into those rooms and kind of get yourself involved in the mix? Like, if you were to start over today, didn't have the network you've built up and all of that, but you had the know-how of how to get into those doors, what are some of those like step by step that you would offer to people in terms of kind of a clear pathway to make that happen? Seize the opportunity.
For sure. I think it's like, you know, a lot of the times you can pay to get in the room. So pay to get in the room. And if you don't have the money, figure out how to get the money, because that is going to be more valuable to you, whether you got to take out a credit card to get in the room, whatever it might be, and make the most of it. Because money is going to come back, like if you don't have money today, that's okay. Like just get into the room. and put yourself in the situation. Raise your hand, ask the question, give somebody a compliment. Hey, man, I really respect everything you're doing. You've inspired me in ways that you have no idea. I just wanted to let you know. So I appreciate that. Give them a shake hand. Keep your chest up. Keep your head back. Give them a firm handshake. Be a man or be a strong, powerful businesswoman, whatever it might be, and make somebody's day, right? And that's how you're going to win. And so that's what I've been able to do is like put myself in the room however I need to. Ask for help. You don't have money? Like some people don't want to ask for help. I'm asking for help all day. Like, are you kidding me? This is way too hard to live this life and to try to do it by myself. Like, hey, I need help. Hey, I need some help here. You know, I don't mind that. Hey, I want to go to dinner. It's on me. I've got some, that's how I got started in my short-term rental business. I took a guy with 9 Airbnbs out to dinner. Simple. And then next month I was putting in offers on my first house, right? Had 100% cash on cash return in my first year. Like I just met them. My belief level went up, right? I got in the room. My belief level went up. Because my belief was up, I took actions. Because I took actions, I got the result. Because I got the result, I reaffirmed my belief, and then the cycle continues. That's how success works, right? But it starts with what we believe is possible. So put yourself in a room where people don't just believe it's possible, they know it's possible. Like it's possible because they're living it every day. So put yourself in that situation, right?
I love that. I love that. It's one of the things I see. I'm real big about. I see you touch on it. I want to kind of dig in and drill down a little bit. Is we're real big on how do we add value? How do we help? Just like you talked about. You know, how do you say a kind word if you don't have anything else to give? I mean, obviously, what's kind of in what ways are you adding value or helping the people you're working with on your team? Like they look to you as a leader. What's kind of some of your leadership traits you're able to help and add value to people?
You know, I'm really good at like firing people up for sure and giving them like specific things to do and really painting a vision. Like I'm a visionary, right? So like one of the PTs that I'm working with who I absolutely love, he's so like he just listens to me. And that's why he's full-time, right? He's full-time virtual PT now and he's making more money virtually than he's ever made in the clinic. And I just paint that vision for him. And I just share with him, like, what is life going to look like when we get you here? And I get him to feel it. You know, I get him to feel it, like to where like he's like, yeah, like I'm in. And then the next day he's just closing deals. Why? Because his belief level was up. So I think from a leadership aspect, it's like not only am I coming in with like this raw, but I'm like, here's exactly how we're going to execute it. These are the funnels we need to bring in PTs. These are the funnels we needed to bring in patients. Here's exactly how we can execute it and look at the vision. You know, in 12 months, we can have 2,500 patients billing out $1.7 million a month, right? What's the multiple on that, right? And just sharing my belief with the company. Like, yo, this is how we do it. It's simple. It's math. So I think that's it, right? From a leadership aspect is reverse engineering based on the numbers and then connecting that to a vision.
I like that. I think it takes both because you can have numbers, you can have those things, but putting the vision out, really a lot of people kind of lack that, or that's super important, I think. But yeah, go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
For
You're all
sure.
good. Yeah, so you were touching on the funnel aspect side of things, and I was just curious, like you as a two Common Club Award winner, is there one specific funnel that you found that is one that you would recommend as like the strategy and the funnel that you use, or are there several or a combination of both? Like kind of what are those secret funnels you use, I guess?
Yeah, I don't think that there's any secret funnel. I think it's all about first and foremost, like your offer. Like if you have a good offer, you're gonna do a lot better. Like, you know, Hormozy talks about an irresistible offer. You know, I think that the market has been flooded with irresistible offer. Hey, if you don't get this, we're gonna give you $1 million. It's like, dude, come on. So I think today, and I actually don't do this, but I think having a good brand is important because people, it's more not so much about the result, like that's what the offers are giving. And I heard this on a podcast this morning that Brad Gibb was talking about is like, it's the relationship. So how can you build a relationship? And so whether it's you or somebody else in your company building that brand that people can trust to know that the relationship is going to be there for the long term, I think that that's the funnel that matters, is the relationship funnel. And that's a difficult funnel to tackle. Because it's hard. You know, it's so much easier to just build out a funnel and then turn on some ads, for me at least. But what's hard is like, how do I build this content? How do I create this? How do I, it's not something that I've ever done. And it's not something that I ever feel like right now I want to do. I think that let me have my first big win, really big win. Some people say I'd win. I live in $1 million house in South Florida and, drive whatever I want and live good. But I'm talking next level. Like, I'm not here to talk about like small wins and things of that sort. Like, I really want to be able to impact and then I want to build my brand. But I think if you can do that, no judgment on anybody that's doing that. I think there's a lot of guys that are just talking nonsense that haven't done anything yet. But I think if you're super passionate about what you do and you build that brand, I think that's the biggest funnel that you can work on. In terms of like from the technical sides, it's just all about testing, and you just got to continue to spend money, and that's the hardest. You have to have the financial stamina to test offers, strategies, angles, headlines, landing pages, ads, copy, VSLs. You just have to test. And it really helps having a team to be able to help you with that. But if you don't, it's just, you got to put in that work. Like, you got to put in that work for sure.
So one of the things you touched on, which I like, is one of the things our company is everlasting investing. We obviously wanted to invest to be able to make an impact. Other people use the word impact just a little bit ago. So what's kind of the impact you want to leave? Obviously, you kind of hit a benchmark in your business, but it sounds like you want to hit even bigger benchmark is what I'm getting. What's the impact you want to leave, or what do you want to leave behind with what you've done?
Yeah, that's a good question. I used to think like I wanted to have this massive impact on the world. But I think, one of my best friends, his name's Adam Wenig. He runs a massive software company. He's actually a Two Comma Club X guy. He's done tens of millions. He's an absolute gangster. And I told him, like, I want to be known, I want significance. And he's like, Alex, like, you know, you matter to everybody around you. Who cares about everything else? Like, if that's what God's will is, that you'll have this massive impact on everybody, great. But like, why don't you just make sure you're having an impact on your friends and family? And then that will ripple through the world. So I think, like, I'm not concerned about like, does everybody know my name? Would it be cool? Yeah. What am I saying that I wouldn't like to be well known like that? Yeah. But what's important is that I am impacting the people that I love in my everyday life, that I am doing the best that I can, that I'm showing up as a man, because that in turn will ripple through, I believe, the world. And if it's God's will that is massively, that my light is shine massively, then so be it. I'm not going to walk away from that. No way. But what's important, is it the clout, or is it the true raw and realness to my everyday life? For me, forget about the clout. Don't care, right? Again, if it's God's will, great. But let me impact every single day my friends and family. Let me show them love. Let me give them confidence. Let me pour into them. Let me pour into my team. And usually, guys, as you know, that's when you stand on the shoulder of giants. That's when God puts you in the limelight. That's when everything else happens. So that's my focus today.
I love
I love
that.
it.
And I love the conviction and the passion in your voice about all of that. Like, you sound like you have a really strong faith background, and I know both Chris and I do as well, and a lot of our audience as well. So if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about kind of the relationship that you've had going through all of the trials and tribulations, and how that's kind of impacted your relationship with God, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny. I hated school growing up, and my mom wanted me to be successful, so she thought that I would do so by going to school. And I tried really hard, and she would tell me before big exams, Philippians 4:13, Alex, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that was always in my head. Like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Right. And that's really where my belief in God came about. You know, I've always tried. I've always pushed myself. You know, I played football growing up. I played sports. I wrestled. And I had a really diverse like childhood. Like, I did a lot of things. You know, my grandparents are, you know, my grandfather was the governor of Nicaragua. So we have property over there, and I would fly from, you know, South Florida and wealthy neighborhoods to literally you know, a Nicaraguan like ghetto, like the streets are poor. So I got to see so much growing up. I got to see the, you know, the wealthiest of the wealthy, to literally the poorest of the poor. And for me, like, I would take off my shoes and play soccer because all the kids didn't have shoes. So I didn't know any different. So that is what really molded me today, is like being a chameleon and being able to get along with everybody, being able to get into a group, make impact, and do what I got to do. And I was always changing schools. I think I went to like 9 or 10 schools growing up. So I had to, like, that was a survival mechanism that I learned, and I'm grateful for, because you put me in any environment now and it's like, dude, this is natural. This is fun. Like, how can I rise to the occasion? And so my mom's faith in God, my mom pouring into me, my mom just always, you know, from these uncomfortable situations to new schools, wrestling, football, you know, playing at a school in Florida. You know, I'm a smaller guy, and I got to see people pass me up where I thought, dude, I should definitely be playing over this guy. Absolutely broke my heart. Just I think it was my mom, how she raised me. And it wasn't like going to church. Like, that's not what I mean by my faith. Um, I think it was just like knowing God was there for me and feeling his presence in times of struggle. Because if you're trying to do anything great in this life, like, you're going to go through those times, and you're going to want God at that time. It's funny, you know, people go through some of the hardest times of their life and they cry out to God when they never cried out to God before. Well, why? Because he's there, right? And he's the one that's going to be there. And if you're going through the hard times, you know, that's who you want by your side. So you might as well get to know him in the good times and be grateful in the good times, because the bad times are coming. Like, there's some around the corner that's going to shake you. How are you going to deal with that, right? And it's like, how's your faith in God? How can he bring you through that? And I think that's what it's been for me. It's like, I had to fight growing up. I had to fight. I was a younger brother. My brother and I did not get along growing up. He was pretty mean to me. And just school was hard, and there was just hard times. My mom was a single mom. She got remarried. My stepdad disowned me. Like, just hard times. And it was like, who can I lean on? Like, who can I lean on in these times? And God was always there. And I built fortitude. You know, I built my mindset, and I'm grateful for all of that. So, but for sure, my relationship from God comes from my mom's relationship with God and pouring into me.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. I love to hear about relationships. I think relationships are key. I always say relationships are what we're made for, what we're created for, is relationships. And you hit on one of my favorite topics a little bit ago. I want to get back. Um, Networking and just being, and how, so for me, like, networking is huge. I built my business on it. That's what people know me for, is to be a connector with others. How are you doing that? How do you model your network, or put your network together systematically or in some kind of format where you can really amplify your business, help others, add value? How are you doing that through your network? Because I love hearing you talk about that. That's one of my things.
I was always the cool kid in high school. Like, that's for sure. Like, parties, I was throwing them. You know, my mom was a flight attendant. My stepdad was a pilot. It's going down at Rod's house this weekend. So I was always the cool kid in high school. I made, like I said, growing up, going from school to school, I had to be it. I had to be, you know, part of it. I wanted to be known. I wanted to be the cool kid. So that was part of it, is just like going through that diversity and going through that adversity. And then as I got older, I wanted more and more to be wealthy. And I remember sitting, you know, with my girlfriend at 16 years old and just telling her, like, one day I want to take care of my mom. She was going through a really bad divorce, and I saw her heartbreak. And my mom has a big influence on me and all the things that I believe in, but I just saw like how money affected her. and how not having money affected her decisions. And I hated that. I hated that. Like it just frustrated me so much. And from that, I based my network off of people that I thought, biased, were going to be wealthy. And I think people with wealthy qualities are good people. I think that they care about their health. I think that they show up. And not saying that people without money are bad. That's not what I mean by that. But just saying that I fixated my relationships on people that I felt like were going to put finances as a priority in their life. That was important to me. And I knew that if I had 5 friends, I was going to be the fifth, right? Like that was told to me. So if I got 5 wealthy friends, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to be wealthy. And that's how I fixated as a part of my network, like not just being the cool guy, but how can I be the cool guy that has a long future and a healthy future and a wealthy future and all these blessed things, right? Because we get to decide. Like that's the cool thing about being human. We get to decide. Like it's just a choice. And I chose this path.
That's wonderful. I respect and commend that a lot, especially that about your mom and everything. Like a lot of the big motivator behind me and everything that I'm trying to do is that my parents are reaching retirement age, and basically I want to help them actually make that transition into being able to retire. Because, back in the crash of 08, 09, we almost lost our house growing up. And it was like really hard to see every day that I'm just struggling. Like my mom got let go of her job. My dad's carpentry business was slowing down to almost a complete halt. And it's just like they somehow miraculously managed, only through the grace of God, to keep us here, and then proceeded to, have to continue to build back up from there. And that was just, at this point, we're almost a couple decades away from that point, but it takes a while when you're working a job to build up the wealth to retire. So
For sure.
I really commend you for that. So
Yeah.
would you say that seeing that financial struggle that you watched your mom go through during that time was one of the impacts that really like pushed you down this road and kind of got you thinking in terms of being able to, achieve these great heights in business and financially?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still to this day, our parents, like they are our parents. Like they don't have the tools that we have. Social media has done some shady things, but it's also done a lot of really amazing things. Like share these tools of like how do I handle everything up here, right? Well, our parents don't have that, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, quite frankly. Like I love my mom to death, but our parents are hard. We're not going to change our parents, right? Now, some people are blessed with like a Fortune 500 CEO dad, and that's awesome, right? That is, but I didn't have that. I didn't have the father growing up. I didn't have a stable mother. I had a loving mother, and thank God for that, because her love is what just made everything okay. Like the love that she had for her kids. Um, but I think that yeah, the struggles that my mom faced financially was one of the big motivators. And plus, I just like fast cars and big yachts and flying private and all that really cool stuff. That like it's like we're on this earth. Why not get everything you can? Why not experience everything you can? Like why not? Like it's not like you're taking away from somebody else because you have like, and that's what people need to understand. It's like go out and be the best version of yourself. We talk about impact. That is how you're going to impact by example, impact by becoming the best version, impact by showing people what's possible and getting other people to be inspired to step up and to become more.
I love that. Dan Sullivan is one of my mentors, and he talks about it's okay to want things. And people say, "Oh, you could give that money away to somebody." Well, somebody else can give it away. Here's what how I'm making an impact. This is what I'm doing. And I think Dan talks about yes, yes. Those are my favorite author there, 10x, and we're giving away those books. Actually, people in our group, 10x is one of my biggest favorite books. So, but one of the things you hit on is who, not how, and just having those people. I think you based. I mean, you didn't use those words, but that's your business, that's your life. And I really think when you take your eyes off yourself and how can I do it for me, and I was just talking about this today in my group, accountability group, is how you do it for others. Like when you leave enough impact for other people and your why is big enough, people can get on board, you really can make a difference. That's where things are exciting. You get to experience things and do things. And like you said, not to be the most famous person out there. One of the things I always say is, I want to be famous to 2,000 people. I still want to go to restaurants and hang out, but I want to have 2,000 people that love me, think I'm great, and I'm making an impact in their life. not Brad Pitt lifestyle where you can't go to a restaurant and get blasted and hammered with people and your autographs. But I love how you're doing that. So I just like to talk about the 10x and 2x. So you're obviously growing. I see your business taking off. How is it you're making impact within your business? Even within your circle of people, like what is it you're doing to make an impact, and how are you trying to grow things just from you and what you can give away? What's the big thing you want to be known when you walk off the earth? How do you want to be known?
I think I do it every day with my people because when I talk to them, I inspire them, I give them ideas. And a lot of the times they execute on my ideas, right? They take something and they run with it. And I think that you could talk to a lot of my close friends who are very successful, and they would say that, like, they love me and I love them, and I give them 100%, and I'm here for them every single day. And so, like, just inspiring them, just pouring life into them, pouring life into their business, and then that's reciprocated to myself. And then same with our business now, like, these guys gave me an offer, and by no means was it like, here's a bag of cash, Alex. It's like, hey, we got to make sure that we got a date before we get married. And I've just stepped up in every single way that I possibly can to add value to the company. So just add value to people, and everything will be reciprocated, right? If you're looking for the quick cash, go get a job. They'll pay you. If you're looking to make big money, add value, have time delay, right? Figure out how to live without don't go buy crazy things. Like, just figure out how to live minimally so you can just gain more skills, become better, add more value, etc. And then the delayed gratification is where the exponential growth happens, right? That's that eighth wonder of the world, that compounding interest.
I love that. So we're getting close to time here, and one of the things I like to do at the end of every episode is ask somebody, like, right now at this point in your life, with all of the experiences that you've had, all of the success and everything, if there was one significant piece of advice that you would give to people out there as the biggest, like, combination of all of your lessons and understanding of this world as your own unique character in it, what would that lesson be, or that thing that you would like to share with them?
Good question. I would say believe bigger sooner. Believe bigger sooner. So
I like that.
whatever that is for you, like, figure out how to rewire your brain to believe it, and believe it sooner, and believe it bigger, because realistically, you're going to have to put in 10x amount of effort to get anywhere. And if you can just start to have small wins, it's going to reaffirm that belief. So believe bigger sooner, and do whatever you need to do to instill that belief in your head and in your heart. And then take action every single day to get there.
I love that. Thanks for sharing some of your journey with us, Alex, through your story. I love to hearing that, your faith background, and we're real excited to see where you're going, your journey, and we'll definitely keep in contact and kind of get progress of how things are going for you. We really love the time we had with you today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. John and Chris, it's been amazing. I mean, I had no idea I was going to even hop on here. And then I was like, all right, what the heck? Like, let me see what these guys are all about. Let me just share something with them.
I love it.
Well, we appreciate your time for sure.
Yeah,
So
I felt like you had a ton of value. So thanks a lot, Alex.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. So where can people follow you today, and kind of what you're up
Yeah.
to and what you got going on, and if they want to reach out and chat or network or anything, like where can they find you?
Yeah, for sure. I don't share too much business stuff online, but it's more personal. But you can follow me on Instagram. It's AYE_RODDY. So Roddy, AYE_RODDY. You could follow me there. Again, a lot of my stuff that I share on there is just personal life. But always happy to talk about business. So, once in a while I'll share, what I'm doing in the background and things of that sort. But for me, life, I gotta have fun. Life's all about having fun. And it's like, well, why have all these things if you're not enjoying it? So you can check out how I'm enjoying my life with all the hard work that I put in at Roddy on Instagram.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Alex, and we'll catch you later. Have a good
All
one.
righty, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Good talking to you.
Thanks, Alex.